Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome back. We had a week off, but we're back. It's Friday night. We're here in Bhaktiville. We're reading Nectar of Devotion. So Srila Rupa Goswami has been explaining these various stages and symptoms of ecstatic love for Sri Krishna. And tonight he dives deeper into these symptoms of love. We're on chapter 30, Additional Symptoms, which is on page 270 of the book or 307 of the PDF. So let's continue. But before we do, please let me offer my obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. And I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord here and throughout the universe. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone. And they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Panchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All right, so chapter 30, Additional Symptoms. Oh, chapter 31. My apologies, chapter 31. All of the above mentioned 31 symptoms of ecstatic love are called vyabhichari, or disturbing. All these symptoms refer to apparently disturbed conditions, but even in such disturbed conditions, there is acute ecstatic love for Krishna. These symptoms, however, can be divided into three groups: first class, second class, and third. There are many other disturbing symptoms in ecstatic love, such as envy, anxiety, pride, jealousy, conclusion, cowardliness, forgiveness, impatience, hankering, regret, doubtfulness, and impudence. These are included in all the 31 conditions of ecstatic love. Srila Rupa Goswami has very nicely analyzed the different kinds of disturbing symptoms. And although it is very difficult to find the exact English equivalents for many Sanskrit words used here, his analysis will now be presented. So I have made these slides up. I've read this section so many times, but I've never really looked at it clearly. So I decided to write it down and then put it on slides so you can check those slides out. So when one becomes malicious upon seeing another's advancement in life, his state of mind is generally called envy. When one becomes frightened at seeing a lightning bolt in the sky, that fearfulness brings on anxiety. Therefore, fearfulness and anxiety can be taken as one. When someone wants to hide his real mentality, it is called avahita, or concealment. When a person wants to exhibit superiority, it is called pride. And both of these can be classified under pretension. In a pretentious attitude, both avahita and pride are to be found. When one cannot tolerate an offense committed by another, it is called amarsha. And when one cannot tolerate the opulence of another, it is called jealousy. Jealousy and amarsha are both caused by intolerance. Bhakti, can I ask you to advance the slide when it needs to go? Thank you. Jealousy and amarsha are both caused by intolerance. When one is able to establish the correct import of a word, it can be called conclusiveness. Greece asks with the green arrows. Yes, with the green arrows. And before such conclusive determination of import, there must be thoughtful consideration. Therefore, the act of consideration is present during the establishment of a conclusion. When one presents himself as ignorant, it is called humility. And when there is absence of enthusiasm, it is called cowardice. Therefore, in humility, there is also cowardice. When the mind is steadfast, it is called enduring. And when one can tolerate others' offenses, that is called forgiveness. Therefore, forgiveness and endurance can be synonymous. When one becomes anxious for time to pass, that is called impatience. And when one sees something wonderful, one is said to be struck with wonder. Impatience can be caused by being struck with wonder, and so impatience and being struck with wonder can be synonymous. When anxiety is in its dormant stage, it is called hankering. Therefore, anxiety and hankering can also be synonymous. When one becomes regretful for some offense, his feeling is called bashfulness. In this way, bashfulness and regret can be synonymous. Doubtfulness is one of the aspects of argument. After exhibiting impudence, one becomes restless. Therefore, restlessness and impudence can be synonymous. So those are all the symptoms that were just listed in the first paragraph there. Envy, anxiety, pride, jealousy, conclusion, cowardliness. So he's just kind of teasing them apart and looking at them. And Bhakti-Mimulus says, depends on the context, yes. So the context here is explaining these symptoms of ecstasy. And Greece says, wouldn't struck be with wonder a good thing? Yes, like seeing an animal in nature and taking a break to watch the animal. Yes, it's a good thing. So disturbing doesn't mean negative, it just means your consciousness has changed. It's just been changed. It's been slightly disturbed. All right. Let me go back to where we are. So when all such symptoms are included in ecstatic love, they are called anchari, or continuously existing ecstatic symptoms. All of these symptoms are transcendental, and they are exhibited in different ways, acting and interacting under different conditions. They are like the reciprocation of love between the lover and beloved, or between the devotee and Krishna. When a person is envious or defamed, there may be a change in the color of the body. This can be classified as vibhav, or sub-ecstasy. Sometimes illusion, collapse, and strong anxiety are also considered to be vibhav. When there are many such symptoms, they can simply be grouped together under ecstatic love. Srila Rupa Goswami says that fright, sleep, fatigue, laziness, and the madness of intoxication are sometimes grouped under continuous symptoms of ecstatic love, and they are due to a strong attraction. False argument, determination, steadiness, remembrance, joyfulness, ignorance, humility, and unconsciousness are also different symptoms of ecstatic love. Dependence is also grouped under ecstatic love, and this can be divided into superior dependence and inferior dependence. The direct differentiations between superior and superior dependence are ascertained by Rupa Goswami and will be presented in due course. So now he's going to give examples of these things. One devotee exclaimed, quote, "Oh, I cannot see the district of Mathura, even though by simply hearing the name of Mathura, the hairs on my body are standing up. I cannot see the place. So of what use are my eyes?" End quote. This statement reveals a strong anxiety to see the district of Mathura, resulting from a strong attachment to Krishna. There is another instance of this strong attachment for Krishna expressed by Bhima when he began to murmur, quote, "My arms are just like thunderbolts, but despite these arms, I cannot smash Shishupal while he is blaspheming Krishna. Therefore, of what use are these strong arms?" End quote. In this instance, Bhima became very angry, and being influenced by such anger, his hopelessness became a cause for strong attachment to Krishna. This instance can be described as strong attachment for Krishna in anger. When Arjuna witnessed the universal form of Krishna, whose dazzling teeth were practically devouring the very existence of the universe, Arjuna's mouth became dried up. At that time, Arjuna forgot himself and could not understand that he was Arjuna, Krishna's friend, although he was always dependent upon Krishna's mercy. This incident is an example of inferior dependence. Sometimes ghastly activities also support strong ecstatic love for Krishna. This state of mind is called ecstatic fearfulness under illusion. In the 10th canto, 23rd chapter, 32nd verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the following statement by the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices. Quote, "We have all been born into three advantageous conditions. We are in high Brahmana families, we have ceremoniously received the sacred thread, and we are also properly initiated by a spiritual master. But alas, in spite of all these advantages, we are condemned. Even our observance of brahmacharya, celibacy, is condemned." The Brahmanas thus began to condemn their own activities. They realized that in spite of being so elevated by birth, education, and culture, they still were under the spell of the illusory energy. They also admitted that even great yogis, who are not devotees of the Lord, are covered by the influence of material energy. This kind of hopelessness, felt by the Brahmanas who were performing ritualistic ceremonies, shows practically no attachment for Krishna. There is another hopelessness, however, which shows attachment for Krishna. When the bull demon attacked the damsels of Braj, they began to cry out, "My dear Krishna, please save us. We are now gone." This is hopelessness with attachment for Krishna. Oh, Kandita's here. Hare Krishna. When the Keshi demon was assassinated by Krishna, Kamsa became hopeless. He began to say, quote, "Keshi Daitya was as dear to me as my own life, but he has been killed by some cowherd boy who is crude, uneducated, and ignorant of fighting. Even though I have defeated the King of Heaven without difficulty, still, I do not know the value of life." End quote. This is Kamsa talking about his friend, the Keshi demon. Because this hopelessness has a slight touch of attraction for Krishna, it is considered to be a reflection of ecstatic love and hopelessness. Kamsa once rebuked Akrura by saying, quote, "You are such a fool that you are accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be a cowherd boy simply because he has defeated some harmless water snake. The boy may have lifted up one pebble called Govardhan Hill, but What is more surprising than that is your statement that this boy is the personality of Godhead." End quote. This is an instance of a maliciously opposing element caused by hopelessness and ecstatic love for Krishna. One devotee tried to console a kadamba tree when the tree was lamenting because Krishna had not touched even its shadow. The devotee said, quote, "My dear kadamba tree, do not be worried. Just after defeating the Kaliya snake in the Yamuna River, Krishna will come and satisfy your desire." End quote. This is an instance of inappropriate hopelessness and ecstatic love for Krishna. Garuda, the eagle, the carrier of Vishnu, once said, quote, "Who can be more pure than I? Where is there a second bird like me, so able and competent? Krishna may not like me. He may not wish to join my party, but still, he has to take advantage of my wings." End quote. This is an instance of hopelessness in the neutral mood of ecstatic love. The symptoms of ecstatic love are sometimes grouped under 4 headings, namely generation, conjunction, aggregation, and satisfaction. Krishna once told Radharani, quote, "My dear friend, when you tried to meet me alone in the morning, your friend Meghala remained hungry with envy. Just look at her." End quote. When Krishna was joking with Radharani in this way, Radharani moved her beautiful eyebrows crossly. Rupa Goswami prays that everyone may become blessed by this movement of Srimati Radharani's eyebrows. This is an instance of the generation of malice and ecstatic love of Krishna. One night, after the Putana demon had been killed, baby Krishna could be seen playing upon her breast. Upon seeing this, Yashoda became stunned for some time. This is an example of a conjunction of various symptoms of ecstatic love. The conjunction can be auspicious or inauspicious. That the Putana demon had been killed was auspicious, but that Krishna was playing on her breast in the dead of night, with no one to help him in case of trouble, was inauspicious. Yashoda was caught between auspiciousness and inauspiciousness. And after Krishna had just learned to walk, he was going in and out of the house very frequently. Yashoda became surprised and said, "This child is too restless and cannot be controlled. He is incessantly going about the neighborhood of Gokula Vrindavan, and then he is coming back inside the house. I see that the child is very fearless, but in spite of his fearlessness, I am becoming more and more afraid of his falling into some danger." This again is an instance of the conjunction of 2 opposing elements. The child was very fearless, but at the same time, Yashoda was becoming fearful of some danger. Here, danger is the cause, and Yashoda's feelings are in conjunction of 2 opposing symptoms. In other words, Yashoda was feeling both happiness and doubt, or growing fear. When Devaki, the mother of Krishna, saw her son very jubilant in the presence of the wrestlers in Kamsa's arena, 2 kinds of tears were simultaneously gliding down her cheeks. Sometimes her tears were warm, and sometimes they were cold. This is an instance of a conjunction of jubilation and lamentation due to different causes of ecstatic love. Greece comments, "Krishna will be fine. He does have the universe in his mouth after all." Yes, true. Once when Srimati Radharani was standing on the bank of the Yamuna River in the forest of Vrindavan, she was attacked by Krishna, who was stronger than she. Although she externally expressed a disturbed mood from this incident within herself. She was smiling and feeling great satisfaction. Externally, she moved her eyebrows and made a show of rejecting Krishna. In this mood, Radharani looked very beautiful, and Srila Rupa Goswami glorified her beauty. This is an instance of exhibiting varying feelings of ecstatic love, although the cause is one only, Krishna. Sometimes there were great festivals in the house of Nanda Maharaj, and all of the inhabitants of Vrindavan would assemble for these festivals. During one such festival, Srimati Radharani was seen wearing a golden necklace given her by Krishna. This was immediately detected by Mother Yashoda, as well as by Radharani's mother, because the necklace was too long for Radharani's neck. At the same time, Radharani could see Krishna nearby, as well as her own husband, Abhimanyu. So all these things combined to make Radharani feel very much ashamed, and with her face shriveled, she began to look very beautiful. In this case, there was a combination of bashfulness, anger, jubilation, and lamentation. This is an instance of an aggregate of symptoms of ecstatic love. Kamsa once said, "What harm can this boy do to me? He has no power." The next moment, Kamsa was informed that all of his friends had been killed by the boy. Then Kamsa began to think in perplexity, "Shall I go immediately and surrender unto him? But how can a great warrior do this?" And the next moment he thought, "Why should I be afraid of him? There are still so many wrestlers standing to support me." But the next moment he began to consider, "The boy is certainly not common, because he has lifted Govardhan Hill with his left hand. So what can I do in this connection? Let me go to Vrindavan and inflict pains on all the residents there. But still I cannot even go out, because my heart is trembling from fear of this boy." This condition of Kamsa's mind reveals an instance of pride, lamentation, humility, determination, remembrance, doubtfulness, anger, and fear. Actually, 8 different symptoms comprise the mental condition of Kamsa. This is another instance of an aggregate of symptoms in hopeless, ecstatic love. Greece says, "Yeah, can you lift a hill like Krishna?" Yeah, no. One householder devotee once said, quote, "My Lord, I am so wretched that these 2 eyes are never desiring to see the glorious city of Mathura. Therefore, my eyes are actually condemned. I am nicely educated, but my education has simply been used in government service. I have not considered formidable time stronger than anything else, which creates and annihilates everything. To whom shall I leave all of my wealth and fortune? I am becoming older and older. What shall I do? Shall I execute devotional service from here at home? This I cannot do, because my mind is being attracted by the transcendental land of Vrindavan." This is an instance of hopelessness, pride, doubtfulness, patience, lamentation, determination, and eagerness, an aggregate of 7 different symptoms in ecstatic love for Krishna. There is a proverb in Sanskrit which says, "Disappointment gives rise to the greatest satisfaction." In other words, when one's sentiment or ambition becomes too great and is not fulfilled until after seemingly hopeless tribulation, that is taken as the greatest satisfaction. Once the cowherd boys in Vrindavan were vainly searching after Krishna for a long time, and for that reason their faces became blackened and their complexions appeared faded. Just then they could hear on the hill a faint vibration from Krishna's flute. Immediately, all of them became very much engladdened. This is an instance of satisfaction in the midst of disappointment. Srila Rupa Goswami says that although he has no expert knowledge about the sounds and meanings and mellows of the symptoms of ecstatic love, he has tried to give some examples of different varieties of love of Krishna. He further states that the 31 disturbing symptoms of ecstatic love, plus 9 other symptoms, all taken together equal 40 primary symptoms of ecstatic love. These symptoms create transformations of bodily activities as well as movements of the senses. All of them can be accepted as different feelings of the heart. Sometimes some of the feelings are quite natural. Sometimes some of the feelings are just temporary appearances. Those symptoms which are very natural always remain, both within and without the devotee. As one can detect the color of dye a cloth was soaked in by looking at the cloth, so simply by understanding the different signs of these symptomatic features, one can understand the actual position. In other words, although attachment for Krishna is one, nevertheless, because there exist different kinds of devotees, such attachment is manifested in many varieties. As clothing tinged red appears red, so the temporary appearance of a certain type of feeling can be detected or observed by the specific ecstatic symptom. In fact, all the different humors and mellows of the devotees possess various specific feelings within the mind. And according to these differences, the symptoms of ecstatic love appear in different forms and degrees. If one's heart is highly elevated, grave, and magnanimous, or if one's heart is rough and crude, different symptoms of ecstatic love will appear, influenced by the condition of the heart. Actually, people cannot generally understand such different qualities of mentality. But when one's heart is very soft or gentle, these symptoms become very easily visible, and one can understand very clearly. The heart of one who is highly elevated and grave is compared with gold. If one's heart is very soft and gentle, his heart is compared with a cotton swab. When there is an ecstatic sensation within the mind, the golden heart or grave heart is not agitated, but the soft heart immediately becomes agitated. To offer another example, a grave, magnanimous heart is compared to a great city, and a soft heart to an insignificant cottage. There may be many lights or even great elephants in the big city, but no one will take particular notice of them. But when such lights or elephants are seen near a small cottage, everyone can distinctly point them out. Hardness of the heart is compared to a lightning bolt with gold and with shellac. The lightning bolt is very strong and never becomes soft. Similarly, the hearts of those who are engaged in severe austerities and penances do not become very easily softened. The golden heart becomes melted at high temperature, as in ecstatic love, and the shellac heart is very easily melted in slight temperature. Softness of the heart is compared with honey, with butter, and with nectar, and the condition of the mind is compared with sunshine. As honey and butter become melted even in slight sunshine, so soft-hearted persons become easily melted. Nectar, however, is by its nature always liquid, and the hearts of those who are in pure ecstatic love with Krishna are by nature always liquefied, just like nectar. A pure devotee of Krishna is always specifically qualified with nectarian qualifications, and sometimes with the qualifications of butter and honey. On the whole, all the different conditions of the heart mentioned above can be melted under certain circumstances, just as a hard diamond sometimes is melted by a combination of certain chemicals. In the Donna Kele Komudi, it is stated, quote, "When love develops in the heart of a devotee, he cannot check the transformation of his sentiments. It is just like at the rising of the moon, when the ebb tide of